A $550 billion trade commitment between Japan and the United States is making headlines, not for what it guarantees, but for what it leaves unanswered. With enormous sums on the table and few details from either government, experts are raising concerns about transparency, accountability, and whether this is a deal or just a political headline, the big promise. According to a White House fact sheet, Japan has pledged up to $550 billion in investments for U.S. industries, from energy and semiconductors to pharmaceuticals and shipbuilding. The money is expected to support revitalizing America's industrial base, with U.S. officials claiming President Trump would control where the money goes, and the U.S. would receive 90% of the profits. But that's where clarity ends. No formal agreements have been disclosed. It's unclear what Japanese entities are involved, how investments would be structured, or what incentives Japanese firms would have if they have no control over the funds or profit guarantees of their own. To put it in perspective, $550 billion is nearly 14% of Japan's entire GDP for 2024. Japan is already the largest foreign investor in the U.S., with over $750 billion in cumulative capital, but those are commercial investments made for returns. Think Toyota's $10 billion plant in Kentucky, projects that take decades to develop and deliver value over time. This new deal? It's being described as an investment vehicle funded by Japan, but directed by the U.S. president, with few known legal safeguards or frameworks. That's raising red flags among economists and trade policy experts. Critics say this sounds more like campaign rhetoric than a sound trade strategy. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told Bloomberg that Japan proposed this deal, offering equity, guarantees, and financing for large-scale U.S. projects. But when pressed for details, a White House official admitted the shape and timeframe are still to be determined. Economists, like Veronique de Ruby from the Mercatus Center, are calling it fantastical. She writes that vague claims of Japan investing $500 billion, with Americans pocketing 90% of the profits, belong on the campaign trail, not in serious economic policy. Japanese investments in the U.S. rose by $54 billion in 2024, a record-breaking year, but expecting 10 times that amount in government-coordinated capital, under unclear terms, without mutual oversight, has many experts doubting this will materialize at all. And let's not forget Japan's major holdings in U.S. Treasury bonds worth over $1.1 trillion are tightly managed by the Bank of Japan for its own national interest, not at the request of another country, with billions on the line and no legal framework in sight. This U.S.-Japan trade deal raises more questions than it answers. This is Will reporting for VNN News. Stay informed.